Over 13 years, guys. Over 13 years. And today I find myself reflecting on my past, reflecting on my present, reflecting on my future. I'm reflecting on where this path will lead me one day. I must say, it has been over 13 years without a significant result until this year, when I finally realized that something was finally changing in my life, all right? However, I've learned a lot. And I know this is only the beginning. How do I know that? Because when you move forward and occasionally misstep into obstacles, guys. So let's say even if you fell into horse poop, it doesn't matter how messy you get along the way, as much as you are reaching your finish line, okay? That's what I want you to reflect on about your path today. Hi guys, my name is Fabio from Journey to Success and welcome. Today we're going to discuss why it is so important to keep moving forward, all right? To be like a river flowing like water, no stop. So we're going to discuss the trial and the error method and why it is so essential for your journey. But before we go forward, as always, please subscribe so I know this is the right direction to lead you guys, to guide you, to drive you towards your journey to success. I'm so happy you're here with me. I see that I'm getting more and more listeners, more and more people who are on this journey with me. So I'm very grateful for it. First of all, let's take a moment to celebrate the new logo of Journey to Success. You might not see much difference, but the colors are more vivid. The lines are sharper. Even the lion has a better structure. As for my face, well, that's remained the same. We now have a minimalistic black background for each episode, which I'm sure you have noticed. And that's to make it look more professional, Another piece of news, although this is temporary, is the Tim Burton style kind of Halloween / Christmas music, and the fact that my logo has been entirely made for October and November. I used to change in the past as well, like for a few years, but for sure most of you never noticed because I merely did for myself and a couple of listener per episode or none. Sometimes it was literally only for me and for one listener that was listening from Hawaii. I don't know. I had this listener. I really hope is still here with me. And Journey to Success. Literally, the first year there was no one. Second year, it started with me and this one listener from Honolulu. But anyway. I will say this logo, this new temporary logo has been entirely made for October, November to match the vibe, Actually, maybe that's why you can't see the original remade logo because you are seeing this zombie vibe in the image for now. But anyway, hope you like it. Now let's get started with the topic of the day. First of all, it is essential to understand why moving forward is crucial to reaching your goals, guys. I had a conversation a day ago with my fiancée. We discussed how she is more of a planner, She focuses on what her non-stop brainstorming and continuing planning can achieve in her life. And she tends to prioritize theory before practice and analyzes better before starting, okay? So before taking action. On the contrary, myself, I tend to adopt a trial and error approach. I didn't even know it was a thing actually until I realized this new concept with her. So then I was curious and I studied a little bit before to start this new episode. And what I do evidently is experiment with different methods to find the best way to reach my end goal. For example, if my fiancé and I were two corridors guys, I think she would analyze the best path, to reach the finish line strategically. She would know when to take a break and when to pause for a drink to keep progressing. But on the other end, I imagine myself as a chaotic corridor, trying various shortcuts that often lead to dead ends. I might ask a grandpa how to climb over that wall that keep me stuck, to jump into a pile of garbage and eventually reach what I thought was the finish line, only to discover it was just a mirage and end up with a broken leg. This chaotic journey reflects my life, and I'm sure the lives of many of you as well. Now, we're not discussing the best approach here, okay? But I want to highlight something important, something absolute, something objective. With my approach, I can teach and mentor effectively because I fell a lot during my way, right? So it means I can drive you better. I can make you understand better things that I didn't. That's what I'm currently doing for Journey to Success, if you think about it, all right? When you focus solely on making theory and planning about what you want to do in life, you risk missing out on the entire learning journey. I'm not talking about the learning zone that emerges once you finally start pursuing what you want to do in your life, all right? That's the case with my fiance. The point is, no matter how much you plan or theorize, no matter if you have known your vocation since birth and know exactly what you want to do with your life, you must learn through failure if you want to succeed. Okay, so there are no shortcuts to this. It's a fact. So even if you know what you're doing, even if you have your vocation since you were a child, anyway, you're gonna you're gonna face the trial and error method anyway. Mhm. However, the trial or error process I'm referring to in this case is more about the personal experience everyone meets during their journey, right? Experiences that many of you are invisibly sharing with me. And what we do together is try to find a solution that better fits our life, one that allows you to feel better and live better than you do now, shaping for the inevitably for the second version of yourself, okay? But what exactly is the trial and error method? The trial and error method is a problem solving strategy that involves experimenting with different approaches or solutions until the most effective one is discovered, right? This technique can help address complex issues, particularly when a clear answer is not clear, is not immediately clear. However, it's crucial to recognize when to utilize the trial and error approach and when not. So here are the essential points for applying the trial and error method, guys. So when to apply? First, when a clear solution is not available. Okay, I remember when I started this journey more than a decade ago, my idea was literally to work from home to fulfill a different need. At that time, I wanted to do something different. I inspired to be a singer. I wished to leave university, but I didn't want to confront my family about it. So I told myself, okay, I'm going to do my best to find something online. I was very naive. It's like someone say, you know what, I'm going to try something offline in the real world. Who said that? No one. In the physical world, you at least know how to start also. Maybe as a waiter or in a customer service, things have both done. But mirroring that idea in the digital world can be absurd. The truth is that achieving something online is challenging, guys, especially if you have many societal mental restrictions. I call them wood sticks, mental restriction from your family and social circle. Even then, it can be hard if you lack a clear idea about what you want to do. Mm? In this case, the only solution is to try a lot. You have to try a lot. Only in this case do you understand what you want to do in your life. Also, a decade ago, guys, it was hard to navigate the online world. Very hard. It was easier to fall for scams. Now, with AI, Google, YouTube, we are bombarded with information about what works and what doesn't. So in this case, the trial and error method can be very effective and faster than it was even 5 years ago in achieving everything in life. When to apply? When time is limited. This is an important point. Based on my experience, there are different layers to consider. First of all, if you acknowledge that you don't have much time, maybe because you think your job contract will end soon, or whatever you were doing is coming to an end, the pressure can lead you to make wrong choices. Yeah. So those wrong choices can create frustration, leading to an endless cycle that eventually results in burnout. And consequently, in this case, limited time is not a possible solution. Mm. But if you have a vague idea about what to do and you have pushed forward to the trial stage and you are more in the error zone, then you are in a better position. For example, I'm done with my job. I'm really done with my job. You have no idea how much I'm done. I mean, my podcast is doing well, still not exceptionally well yet, since the competition is huge. And I know it will take some time before I can monetize it. However, my Substack, where my community is based, is flourishing. Understood the algorithm, studied this social media, and I'm progressing more than I ever have before on social media. On Instagram, I'm still stuck at 500 followers. Mostly had paid social media manager to help me grow organically, guys. I even didn't grow them. And I didn't even like the idea to pay someone. But with Substack, I'm seeing success. Because of that, I think I finally figured out how to grow on any social media platform, even if I'm not implementing that strategy that I'm using on Substack just yet. But talking about my point, the point when to apply this concept when time is limited. The point is that I plan to open a mentorship program. Initially, my idea was to create a product for Udemy and sell it on the platform. Still, with Fiverr, I can monetize immediately by mentoring people who want to succeed, just as I have on Substack. Hey guys, just a quick break. Here at Journey to Success, I want to welcome you into something special. The Journey to Success Club. It is more than just a newsletter. You will become part of the club. When you subscribe for free, you'll be the first to know when new episodes are out, where you also get extra inspiration to fuel your own journey with daily motivation from me. And if you have never thought about growing your Substack community or using it to support your business, product, or podcast like I do, I would love to offer you a 7-day trial so you can see all the prompts I use to grow my Substack. Just head over to journeytosuccessclub.substack.com or click the link below to start growing your community today. We're in this together, guys. Now, back to the show. Additionally, in just 2 weeks, I studied copywriting, created 25 email sequences that last for 3 months. To grow my list, I connected, an online tool on X Twitter, and where I schedule around 800 notes for the next 2 months. And I'm sure I will still experience error in all that I'm doing, but at the same time, the pressure to leave my job soon is giving me extra energy to move forward. That's what I want to. That's the reason why I made all these big concept to make you sure you understand that yes, I'm moving forward. Yes, I am. I'm making a lot of steps right now, but especially also because the pressure to leave my job is huge. Okay. In another episode, we will discuss how to use emotional energy as fuel in a way. But the main takeaway here is that you need to have an idea of what you're doing. Because now I have an idea of what I'm doing. I have it. So after 13 years, I finally feel like I know what I'm doing, and being focused on our point, because I feel I have a limited time to go forward as an employer, I feel the right urge to do more with the podcast and overall with Substack and Fiverr. But still, guys, 5 years ago, I didn't know where to redirect this amount of energy if I were in the same situation as now. Simply because I wasn't sure about my path. Okay, I wasn't. But to reach what you like, you still have to make many missteps along the way to get to this point, okay? Where you finally understand your goal more and more clearly. So that's also another key to understand. So this this point to apply when time is limited has different layers. So yes, when time is limited, it's important to use, any energy you have to move forward, to in a way to be faster. But at the same time, if you don't have a clear idea regarding what you're doing it about regarding what you do, then it's hard. Understand that. If you have it, it's cool. I have it right now in my case, but I didn't have before. But at the same time, as I say to you, to understand what you really want to do in your life, you really have to move forward. You really have to, to try a lot. The third key, still when to apply this concept, is when you aim to learn and develop. This wasn't my initial idea, let's say. I have to be honest. I tell you how I ended up here. I made a lot of mistakes in my life, like a lot. Then one day I thought to myself, you know what? I can guide others who are in the same position to help them understand certain things better, so they won't give up on their journey, or at least they can be faster than I was. Still, to be very honest with you, I never understood that I had to aim and develop. Never. My way was more to try out, hoping for some luck and study better along the way, But today, I'm happy that it didn't happen in this way. Yes, sometimes I have wished to go viral and reach thousands of listeners, but the truth is that I'm not sure I want that anymore. I wouldn't know how to explain to you how to become a pro podcaster, for example, or talking generally, how to reach you better. So how to reach you personally better if I had an easier life, as my experience would be based on luck rather than practical solutions that I could share with my community, So this is also seems like a valid point. Aim to learn and develop. Now let's talk about when to avoid the trial and error method. First of all, when a solution is evident. On Substack, I made 2 notes go viral in the same week. Not because of luck, but because I understood after a lot of trial and error how to make a note viral. So I understood how sometimes I can predict the unpredictable. But of course, I experimented considerably before reaching this point. So the solution now seems evident to me. So I don't know if I want to experiment with something else. If I do, I'll be very careful because it is something I have achieved already, okay? I made it work. So that's the reason it's better to avoid when the solution is evident. Another reason why it is essential to avoid the trial and error method is when the consequences of failure are significant. So in this journey, I also decided to run Facebook ads in the past, all right? And the ads are the boss of the trial and error method. I don't know if you know, but to succeed straight away without First, experimenting with ads in general is hard. It's very hard. In Facebook ads, for example, as with most ads, it's important to do the A/B test to see what works and what doesn't, right? And it is a continuing A/B test. What I want to try to say is this: if I spend 200 euro or dollars in 1 month and get nothing, and then spend another 200 euro in the second month and get nothing still, people, including myself at that time, don't understand that losing money is part of the game in this contest, because you need to test a lot. If you cannot sustain this amount of loss, then you must change your strategy, okay? Another example I would like to include here is that my ads with podcast addicts were performing well. Of course, I made a lot of experiments with the CTA, with the call to action, and then at the end was good, you know? But still, we're talking about 200 euro per month to gain more listeners. So I was seeing an increase of about 20 to 30 listeners per month, which is good considering it's personal growth, considering it's a podcast, also considering that the conversion rate for podcast ads is higher than for any other type of ad. However, guys, it's a long-term project that wouldn't be sustainable for me financially. Of course, the situation will change when I have more money to spend. But what I want to emphasize is that we're not only discussing when the consequences of failure are significant, to avoid the trial and error, like in this contest with Facebook ads, but also recognizing that even the consequences of success can be significant if the return is not justifiable, you know if in case it's not worth continuing unless you have more money, specifically in the case of my podcast addict ads. That's why I choose Substack to grow my audience more organically right now, and later on focus again on a successful and finally sustainable path like podcast ads. Okay. Another point, another reason why it is essential to avoid the trial and error method is when operating with restricted resources, guys. Here you need to be smart. If something is obvious, it's obvious. You cannot expect to become the same YouTuber you admire with just 200 euro camera or a low budget smartphone and think your videos will be the same as those of a professional YouTuber. You cannot do that. You cannot think that. If your resources are limited, change your strategy. Perhaps maybe becoming a podcast is a better option in terms of cost, since you can start with high quality equipment at a lower price. Or if you generally want to be a YouTuber, consider sacrificing something to save up, 100 euro per month. In a year, you could have excellent equipment for a beginner YouTuber that looks professional. But still, it's important to not wait. So yeah, still you can still do your your video in a low quality, and anyway you can practice, and who knows, people will like you anyway, because see guys, uh, also this concept has a different layers as well, because in my case, for example, limited resources did not stop me. I'm recording right now with a cheap mic, the Samsung Q2U. Cheap mic, but is one of the cheapest, it's true, but great mics ever. One of the best in its category. Okay. But I also utilize tools that utilize AI to enhance the voice, making it sound like I'm recording in a professional studio. Mm? Even though right now I'm just, in my sitting room, I'm recording here with my laptop. So we're not talking about, um, uh, a real podcast office. See, my fiance said I do a lot of trial and error. That's true. Maybe even when it is not necessary. But I've reached a point where I'm proud of the results because they made me creative as well. And especially, I know how to guide you on that, lead you, drive you. Sorry, I like how it sounds every time. But anyway, regarding the last point, when operating with restricted resources, guys, it is essential to recognize that we live in a fortunate era. You can smartly find resources without spending a lot these days. You know, we talk about it, especially with this AI right now. Like every possible is infinite. But yes, it takes time to understand the right tool for you. It does take a significant amount of energy as well to reach a point where you are truly satisfied with what you have. Talking about the limited resource. So at the end, anyway, it's up to you. Now, guys, let's break down the main points from today's episode before we wrap up. All right. First of all, we talked about why it is so important to keep moving forward, all right? No matter how messy the path gets, life is not about avoiding mistakes or obstacles. It's more about reaching your goals and learning along the way. Then we dove into the trial and error method and why it is essential. Explain how experimenting, making mistakes, and figuring out what works is how you really grow and discover your path. And we also cover, when to use trial and error. So you want to use it when there is no clear solution, number one, so you can explore different ways forward. Number two, when time is limited, giving you momentum to act. And number three, when your goal is to learn and develop, so every mistake becomes a lesson. And importantly, we discussed when to avoid it. So first, when the solution is obvious, so you don't need to overcomplicate. Second, when failure or success also has high consequences because the risk is too much big, all right? And number three, when resources are limited, guys, you have to be smart about what you tried, okay? Finally, the big takeaway. Keep experimenting, learn from every step, and keep moving forward, guys. Every misstep, every obstacle shapes you and brings you closer to your goals, okay? Now, I want to hear from you. How do you approach challenges in your life? Do you experiment a lot? Take risks? Learn from mistakes? Or do you prefer to plan every step carefully? Send me a message, share your story, or connect with me on Substack. I would love to know how you move forward on your journey. And if you found today's episode valuable, guys, make sure to subscribe so you never miss an update. And even more important, share this episode with a friend who might need encouragement to keep moving forward, all right? Embrace trial and error and learn from their journey. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here on Journey to Success. As always, remember, every step, no matter how messy, is part of building a life of growth and progress. I'll see you in the next episode. So next time, cheers.